What's up, you beautiful collectors and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans? Once again, it's the one and only Optibotimus coming at you with another video review. And on today's episode, thanks to the absolutely incredible contributions from all of my Optibotimus Plus channel members, especially the one and only Wanda Magnus, we're going to be taking a look at the new NECA Toys, Eastman and Layard's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Renet, and Renet. Now, a lot of you may not necessarily know who Renet is. She's appeared in several different series, but originally, she first appeared in the Kevin Eastman and Pierre Layard's Mirage comics of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think appearing in the 8th issue, she quickly became a new ally for the Turtles. And what NECA has done here is released 2 versions of her. The first being a regular standard release, and a second exclusive one to Walmart, that being a signature edition, which includes an autograph from Kevin Eastman. I really wish at some point in time they would reach out to Peter Laird and get him involved in this, because I feel like we're getting half of the duo. But what they did in terms of these releases here, as you can see, one is in a reddish brown coloring and a more retro look for in this blue coloring. In the original Eastman and Laird comics, they were black and white, but the covers a lot of the times were done in color. Starting with, I believe, issue 5, the covers were full color. And this is how she appeared on that cover in which she debuted. Now, apparently, and I haven't really kept up with it, but the IDW comics have re-envisioned her with this red and brown look. I'm not entirely interested in this one. This is the only one that I was able to find. I had to go online to get this one, but when I bought it, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a look. Not knowing I was going to be able to easily find this one, because the only way to get her was to go to a Walmart store, and for $40, I think it was, and find a little card. It was kept where the other action figures are for NECA, but that card you bought. And then you would take that card home and enter in a code that was there, and it would allow you to check out and get this sent to you. So it's kind of weird, but that was the only way really to get this one. And that's the one ultimately I always wanted, because that represents the comics a little bit more. Truthfully, I hope they do another version of her, but in black and white. Most of you know that I love those versions of the Turtles even more than the color versions. But for the packaging between these two, you can see that the background in there is slightly different. I am not going to open her. I am going to open this one, because this is the one, like I said, I wanted to actually display. But you can see that they kind of changed the coloring here. You got Eastman and Laird, you got that on there. This one says Signature Edition. Both of them say Renet. And then you got the swapped out colors down here. Come around to this side, you can see that it actually looks a little bit different. I mean, this says 02 and this is SE02, as Signature Edition 01 was Fugitoid. But you can see that the art here looks slightly different other than just the color. I mean, it does look a little bit different. Come around to the other side, and again, the art on here looks slightly different as well. It's very, very similar looking. Just the way that the colors are might be making it look a little bit off. And then when you come to the back, you got images of the figure, and these images are all different. You can see her headpiece, the time scepter holding her dagger. All of them are very similar looking, but they are different. And then you can see this one actually has the black and white Shredder, Foot Soldier, Fugitoid, which we already took a look at, and then, of course, Casey Jones. This one, though, has, of course, Fugitoid, Casey Jones, and an Utrom, which is kind of cool to see. But the package, like I said, a little bit different. Again, I wonder if that's going to be kind of an indication that they're going to... Oh, probably not, because there's a little bit of yellow in there. So these ones are full-on black and white. Again, I hope they do all of these characters in black and white in some way, or some shape and form down the way. But for the packaging on her, that's about it. So without further ado, let's get her out here and see how cool she actually is. And here we have the new NECA Toys blue version of Renet opened up and out of her packaging. And, okay, first and foremost, NECA screwed up royally. Not so much with the figure. This 100% is going to be a bit of a tangent, but this is what I got. And as you can see, it says Signature Edition. what NECA decided to do was do a bit of an online sale. And you would go to Walmart's website and you would order this figure. And the figure was $40. But what they neglected to really say, you thought that you were buying the signature edition. In reality, there is no signature a part of this. Every other signature edition that NECA has released before, whether it be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Gremlins like the one that I got, that had Howie Mandel's autograph, those signature editions came with signatures. This doesn't. And it honestly pisses me off. The figure is fantastic, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but this whole thing is total BS. They randomly would insert a card outside of the package that when you ordered these, you might have got a signature, you might not have. You had no idea. Despite the fact that the package says signature edition, that wasn't actually what you got. So, NECA, read between the lines, guys. That's the kind of bull stuff that honestly makes your guys' company a complete joke. Figure-wise, you guys nail it. I will never say anything about that. But how you guys run your business and how you treat collectors and fans is total crap. And I legit hate the fact that I have to give you my business because you do realistically make the best Ninja Turtle figures that we've ever gotten. I just wish I didn't have to give you my money. Anyhow, that being said, figure-wise, yeah, really very good. Now, I do have to, again, apologize. My review is going to be, unfortunately, affected by the fact that I have a kitten. Well, she's not even a kitten anymore. She's like 3 years old. But little tiny things like this, she loves getting her hands on, or paws. And I am now entirely missing a piece. This is the red Renet that I have. And as you can see, it doesn't say signature edition. But I'm bringing this out because you'll be able to see one of the accessories. So in addition to a few hands that she has here, you can see that she's got two hands here. I got the fisted hand on this one. I got an open hand on this one, which allows her to hold her Scepter of Time, which is really cool. Great detail, again, on here, because NECA does a real great job with their detail and how they recreate these things. You can see it's an hourglass. You got a little hand there in the background. Absolutely wicked and cool. Gorgeous wood paint on here that makes it look really much like it's a scepter. Gorgeous little bottom section here with that little claw bit kind of holding that little round section. Absolutely gorgeous. But she also does come with a couple other hands. Now, out of the box, she has a right and left hand that are in just an open gesture kind of position. I did again mess up because I trust in NECA. I tried bending this one and it didn't, and it ended up breaking this. Now, luckily, I can just take that and kind of stick that on. You can see I tried to actually glue it back on there, but you just wedge that in there, and now it's going to look ugly because that's on there. But the biggest problem is when I peg this on, it still works. I have to peg it on there, but when I want to replace the hand, when I pull this out, the entire peg stays stuck in there. So I have to use some tweezers to kind of pull this out. So still works, but definitely another case in point where make sure you heat up your figures if you're getting them from NECA and they're not budging, because things like that can happen. So you have that, and then you have the opposite hands of what I already have on her, where there's fisted hands and then a holding hand here, so she can hold some of her accessories. Now, in terms of some of the other accessories that she has, like you can see, she's got the Scepter of Time. She has some scrolls, which, honestly, I don't remember this too terribly much. I don't know if this is something that came into play in the later IDW kind of comics or what, but either way, it's really very nice. I dig it. And she also does come with a dagger. We did see this originally in the Mirage comics, but great detail in there as well, where you can see a nice gray here for the blade, that gold or yellowish color going down the middle. Great hand guard thing right there. And then again, the handle and pommel look really very good. And then you also do get some extra heads. Now, this one is actually Lord Simultaneous's head, which This is, I love the detail on this. When we're first introduced to Renet, she steals the Time Scepter from Lord Simultaneous, and she ends up going back in time to 1984, where she ends up meeting the Ninja Turtles. Lord Simultaneous, trying to track her down, appears as this head, and it's really cool. It's semi-translucent. You can see some detail on the inside, which looks really very cool. Great paint applications on there with these very cool yellow eyes, the open mouth. You can see you have a peg hole down there, so if you wanted to peg this on a figure, you could. I don't know really why you would want to, but this might be a case where sometimes you can find those head stands that NECA release. You could probably peg it in there, but it would be very small because they're only about yay big. So it would sit there. But that's kind of cool. I like the fact that they include that because those two were kind of hand in hand. And then you do get this unhelmeted head for her, which you can see has a real great paint detail, of course, all the way around. The hair looks really cool. But the problem, though, is this is kind of her normal look. She has a helmet that you can remove. The helmet looks really cool as well. Again, great detail on that entire thing. But you can see that her unhelmeted head just has this kind of head wrap. What you want to do is pop this piece off. You can leave the cape on if you really want to, and then you would take this and you would put this on. Now, the problem is that the peg is really tight there. Is that on there? No, that is not on there. All right, maybe realistically I should heat that up because I don't trust NECA. But no, that's on there. So you can see that doesn't look bad. But what Pepper decided to do was take this little plastic piece right here that normally you would put on there just to kind of cover up that little gap and kind of make it look like she's taking that little head wrap and pulling it down. It's not too bad on... Oh, God damn it. Yeah, I'm leaving that in there too because this review is just kind of, all over the place. But that little plastic piece is what Pepper decided to steal, and I will probably never be able to find it, but it's what's used to kind of cover up this neck area and make it look like she's pulling the head wraps down. So that's really cool. I do like it. It's not going to be a display that I'm going to go for, number one, because I don't have that head wrap anymore. And number two, I just much prefer that actual comic look for her, where she's wearing this goofy head thing on here. As one of those time protectors that goes around protecting time, that's kind of her outfit. And you can see that through the rest of the figure itself. Now, you can see she does come with a cape. The cape is actually really nice. You do have a wire that goes all the way around, so you can get really cool poses with it. I will say that you do have to be fairly creative with getting the bending around here and her shoulders to kind of make it look like it's draping naturally here, as opposed to sometimes you'll get it and it just kind of looks like it's poking up. So just kind of play with the edges and kind of push it down, and you can get a real good, well, there's that, kind of natural look for her. This does just kind of rest on here. It's a bit of friction, so it can pop off fairly easily, but once it's there, I mean, it doesn't really, it does, I mean, it kind of sits there, but it will pop off fairly easily. But it's frictioned enough that it's not going to be falling off when you're just kind of standing her there. But detail-wise, coming in to take a closer look, this is a great figure, a great representation of the character that we saw in the original Mirage comics. Now, she did come out in some of the actual cartoons and things like that, but I never really cared that much about it, and I'm just going to take that off. But you can see great shoulder pauldrons up there with some nice black paint on there. The torso bit here, obviously, she is a product of comic book drawing, where you can definitely see what's going on here. But I love the actual detail with all the clocks that go all the way around her actual costume. That is really cool that they sculpted all of that in there. You can see some nice black panel lines there, but even when you look at the rest, it almost looks a little bit weird there, like there's broken paint or something, but you can see a little bit on the side, which really helps to accentuate the fact that she's kind of a drawing of sorts. You can definitely see that in the boot area as well. But all the way around, even back here, you can see she's got like little slash marks and stuff on her buttocks. Just again, kind of giving you that detail that she's meant to be a drawing, or that's, what they're recreating here. So very nice in terms of the overall detail on her. Now, truthfully, this isn't even the version that I really want. I have these turtles back here because my favorite look is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from the Mirage comics that are in the black and white style, because inside the comics, they were black and white. The covers were what were color, and some of the first full-color comics started around issue number 5. So in 8, where she appeared, she was in this color scheme with the blue and such. So truthfully, I'm very hopeful that in some way, shape, or form, they will release her again in this color scheme, because that's ideally what I want. I talked about that even when I looked at that Loot Crate Shredder, which I'll be taking a look at here eventually, that's a good representation and kind of represents how he looked in color on some of the pages, I guess you could say. This is definitely accurate to how she looked on the cover as well. So I just want her to be the black and white like the rest. Articulation-wise, the head is on a ball joint, so you get a pretty good range of motion. The shoulders here on those pin hinge joints that, again, they are fairly stiff. You can kind of hear the friction going on there. You have a rotation at the upper part of the bicep. You do have 2 bends at the elbow, although realistically, you don't really need 2 bends at the elbow because she doesn't really get too much of it. Well, I guess a little bit. It's decent, I suppose. She does have a waist diaphragm joint. One thing that's cool is these little bits right here are actually sculpted a little bit below that, so you can kind of see these moving around, which that's really kind of neat. She does rotate at the wrist. She does have a forward and back, much like you could see with all of them. Slight rotation at the upper part of the thigh. The legs do move forward and back, in and out. They are a little bit loose. Not bad, but they definitely are a little bit looser. And then you do see she's got 2 bends here at the knee, come down to the ankles. You don't have anything at the boot, but you do have a boot that does move forward and back. Also, does this have the hacky sack? Yeah, that has a bit of a hacky sack pose. So all the articulation could possibly imagine with her is there, but you don't really need a lot with her, to be totally honest. Like for me, the way that I'm going to honestly display her is probably going to be with the blade. I'm going to swap out this hand for, which one is it? This one. Get that in there. Like that. Come on, get in. There we are. Take the scepter. Put that in there. It's a little bit tight. Come on. Come on. Yeah, you're going to be a pain in the butt. Yeah, you are. A little bit of a pain in the butt. Come on. Get in there. Ta-da! All right, there we go. So, something like this. Yeah, I guess I can go with that. That doesn't look terrible. But again, I want to futz with the cape a little bit. Kind of keep that draped down. But you can see, like, messing with her, the cape just kind of naturally gets some natural flow to it, which is really cool. So as you play around with that, and it's a nice felt cape, so it does actually feel really nice. Maybe I'll reverse that and have the scepter in the other hand. I don't know, but either way, like I said, really happy to get her. She was definitely one of the first allies for the Turtles in the comics, so it is cool to get her as an action figure. Personally, I'm very happy with how the figure turned out. The advertisement and the promotion stuff is total crap. So that is what it is. But the figure is still very well done, and I think ultimately that's probably the most important part. I mean, I'm not overly upset. I mean, $40 is definitely not bad because those autographed versions were $100 figures, so you were paying probably an extra $50 to $60 to get that autograph. So $50, you have the chance to get the or $40, I think it was, you have a chance to get the autograph. I just wish they wouldn't advertise them as such. Put a regular box on there that doesn't say signature edition. I mean, because otherwise, it's to me, I just feel like that's false advertisement. I don't know. They warned us. We knew that it was like a random thing, but it is what it is. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of it. But there you go, guys. There's my look at the blue variant of the new NECA Toys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Renet. Now, I don't even know where the hell you can get this figure, because she shows up in Walmart. I have been seeing the red version of her kind of everywhere. The blue version, I don't know if that was just exclusive to Walmart or like that stupid auto T thing or whatever, I don't know. Either way, they're great figures. They look amazing. They add to a display for Ninja Turtles and Ninja Turtle fans. So based off of that, I do recommend her. Just know what you're getting into with NECA. They typically like screwing over collectors. But beyond that, guys, that's about it. Once again, I want to thank you all for tuning in and watching. And as always, please remember that the real trouble with the world is that too many people grow up. And until next time, this has been Optibotimus saying adios, au revoir, and auf Wiedersehen.